I get loaked and loony. Bitch, you can't do me. Do we look like BBD, you hoochie groupie? I got no love for hoes. There's something that I learned in the past. So how the fuck am I supposed to? Yeah, man. Pussy's mine. I'ma fuck a couple more times and then I'm through with it. There's nothing else to do with it. Pass it to yeah, man. Pussy's mine. I'ma fuck a couple more times and then I'm. So fuck. Why don't y'all pay attention? Approach it with a different proposition. I'm corrupt, ho. You'll never be my only one trick ass bitch. Ain't no fun. What's good, good people? It's your boy Brian Redmond, and once again it's on. We got another good, the bad, the ugly coming to you live from the United Guns of America channel, and I'm gonna hit you with the wow, wow, wow. Man, I got a great video that I want to break down tonight, and I hope that everything goes well. I hope that everything sounds good, and man, let's just go ahead and get it cracking. Let's tune in and share, click the like, do what you're gonna do, and if you got any other questions, we'll figure it out along the way. So let's do it.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
There we go. And I think that was this, and that should give it to me. Give it to me now. Yes, no, maybe so. There we go. Okay, yeah, that is it. All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure that what I had here was the exact same thing there, and we are good. All right, cool. Hey, thanks for catching me on the replay. It's all good, brother. I just wanted to get this video in real quick on the channel. I wanted to get it going because I'm still trying to build up. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to do over here. So I want to do as much content as I can on the United Guns of America channel so we can get that going. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So let's do this, and I just need to pull up one other thing so that we can have all of the information, because I closed it out of the other one. Yes, I did. Yep, and that's why it's not there. Yeah, not going here, but there. Cool. So let's cut that and put that there. Boom. There we go. Yep, and that's there. Nope. Nope. Right. Cool. All right, so we're good to go. Video is ready. So we're gonna break this video down real quick. It's like one of those things to where watching the video, I guess one of my biggest things about it was just how wild it actually got and how quickly it did. And it's like there are a few things that I saw that were problems for me on both sides of for the officer's safety. I saw some real huge issues with that, and it's like, I guess one of the biggest things that I always say is that a lot of police officers make the mistake of getting so relaxed in what they're doing that they tend to miss major safety points, and what it can end up in is them losing their lives or somebody else losing their lives. It shouldn't have to. And that's one of the things that I saw here. Fortunately enough, these guys were lucky and they were okay. They made it out alive, but had this guy gotten off a lucky shot here or there, it really could have ended badly for the police officers who were literally just on the scene, and it looked like they were just arriving to a basic call or whatever to see what was going on with this guy. So let's go ahead and let's dive right in. Oh, I didn't put this on over here, did I? No, I didn't. Well, I can put that over there later. That's fine. So yeah, we can go ahead and we can dive in and we can check it out. So without further ado, and away we go. Yeah. So what you're gonna see is you're gonna see the moments leading up to this guy getting shot, and you're actually gonna see the officer's body cam footage to where the shooting actually takes place. And it's like, it's wild, man, the fact that how just quick, and it's like a lot of people don't understand how quick this happens and how quick things can just go from 1 to 100. And you see this guy leaving out of this building right here with his firearm. Just in case you didn't, let's just catch that one more time. Looks like the dude had like a 45 1911. That's what it looked like. But he clearly has a gun right here, and my man is simply just walking out the door like, yeah, I'm about to go show these mofos what time it is. So he got his gun and he walks out. Okay, so now what you're gonna see is now he's out in the parking lot, and you'll see him walking across. He has the gun tucked in his waistband, right? So let's say, for instance, if this dude was your average citizen carrying a firearm. Now, you clearly can see that he has his gun out, and these police officers, well, this police officer here has pulled up. You got two cars there. You got the SUV, and there's another car actually behind them, and then you will see another car on the far left side of this guy that he doesn't even see, that the guy who has the gun doesn't even see. So they pull up and immediately they're like, hey, whoa, trying to find out what's happening. And my biggest thing is you don't want to just pull up and when you see something like that, just sit there and say, okay, we're going to try to work this out. You have no clue as to what somebody's mental state is. So when you see that first sign of danger, you got to go ahead, you got to get ready to rock and roll and protect yourself first. And then you have to go ahead and see what you need to do to resolve the situation.
Whoa. Put the gun down!
Just that fast. Now what you're gonna see next is you're gonna see the shooting coming from these officers' body cams. But let's just watch that one more time.
Whoa.
So he's walking here. Police see the guy. Gets out. Dude, gun is out. Points the gun. Points the gun again.
Put the gun down!
Just that quick. And that's, I guess, the biggest thing about this shooting is that's what I wanted to get across. I wanted to bring across to people who are not in law enforcement, people who who don't understand how quickly things can turn. And you can just see here. Now, if you look in the far back, you'll see that there's another officer there, and you're going to see his body cam footage too.
Whoa. Put the gun down!
And then you're actually going to be able to see something else that was really it happens, but people don't recognize it or really watch it. Watch this guy's firearm. He got 2 rounds off, and now his gun, and boom, that's my safety issue right there. Well, my second one. You see this guy. He works through it, and his gun did not fire. He had a malfunction in the midst of all of that was going on, and boom. So this was my biggest thing with that. Number one, when you have a malfunction, the first thing that you do when you're approaching somebody in a situation, especially when you see that there is a firearm in play and you see that there's a gun and there's a good chance that you probably gonna wind up having to shoot this person, one of the first things that you want to do is you want to take cover first. If you have to shoot this person, you want to shoot from a position of cover. You don't want to be the guy that's just shooting, just blindly shooting at somebody and saying, yeah, I'm standing there toe to toe with this guy like you in a goddamn boxing ring. You first and foremost want to take cover. And to everybody that's over in relationship rehab, if you can click the link and come on over to the United Guns of America channel, that's where the chat is. That's where I can see your comments and your questions if you got any. So click that and come over to that side so I can see the comments and stuff, and hit the like and the subscribe button. So that's the first thing. You always want to make sure that you take cover, because cover can protect you from getting shot, because that dude could have easily got off a lucky shot with this guy. And I'm gonna show you the first problem with this too. When the police roll up. Yeah, here we go. So boom.
Whoa.
Now that police officer is in his car. He's opening the door to approach.
Whoa.
Sees this guy has a gun. What he should have done is hopped his cool ass right back in that vehicle, and he should have bagged up. Not to say he got to run, he ain't got to retreat, but he should have bagged up so that he could have cover, because that cover is supposed to be his vehicle at that point. And he knows it, and he does something that he should have did with his vehicle. He does it with his body, and you'll see him actually retreat to the pickup truck that's right there. And he shouldn't have done that. He should have just stayed right there, because that dude, if he wanted to just kill anybody, he could have got him a police officer right off the bat, and he could have literally just dumped every shot right there at that dude, because number one, he didn't have anywhere to actually take cover. If he would have just said, I'm gonna shoot the first person that approached me, Officer Smith or whoever this officer is would have been a dead duck, because he didn't get out the car shooting. He didn't get out the car with his gun ready to rock and roll right then and there. He just got out his car trying to talk to somebody who has a gun in their hand. Stay in your car, back the car up to the edge of where that pickup truck is, and then you get out. So that was the first safety issue here.
Whoa.
You see how he automatically ran? You don't want to be running and that dude take a shot at you, and actually he can hit you. You see the other officer back here, he's not only behind the pickup truck, he's behind the SUV too. So he has plenty of cover. So there's somebody already who's in position to contact or shoot this dude safely. You don't have to be that guy. You don't have to be that guy. And he definitely took a chance with his life right there. That's it in this situation. And it was a bad decision, which happens because when you don't train to think cover or concealment first, then you just make split decisions in the moment. And he was just lucky, plain and simple. He could have backed that vehicle up right there because dude had his gun out. See how he had to run from him? Shouldn't have had to do that. And you saw what happened as soon as that guy started shooting. Now here's the other thing. He's moving towards this guy, and it doesn't look like he's really taking into account that he has a fellow officer behind him who's shooting also, and he could have moved himself into that line of fire if that officer wasn't being conscious of that. So you also want to make sure that you are conscious of where you're standing and the person that's in front of you, what they needs to be conscious of where you're moving as well. But it's hard to do that when you're shooting at somebody. So you have to keep that in mind and make sure you know where you're at, because you don't want to get in the line of fire of one of your fellow officers and get shot, which happens often.
Put the gun down!
And now he's saying, put the gun down, put the gun down. So here's the thing. Yeah, and that's a great question where you're asking about how come he didn't give the command to put the gun down or to stop. You don't have to do that when your life is threatened. And once that dude pointed that firearm at that officer, that's it. All bets are off. The fact that he has his gun out and he's brandishing a weapon, look it up, he's brandishing a weapon is his first mistake. And the second, and to me, it looked like this was just suicide by cop. That's what it looked like to me. But the first mistake he made was having that gun in his hand. Once he raised that gun, all bets are off. I don't have to give you no command to drop it. I don't have to give you no command to stop. I don't have to do anything. Dude is doing whoa, 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 because that's his final plea, if you will, to try to stop this dude from doing like, whoa, whoa. So yeah, you don't have to give a command in that situation because your life or someone else's life is being threatened because that dude is now aiming a deadly weapon at you or at one of your fellow officers. So he don't have to get no command right there. And then they move in.
719. Call EMS on the code 3.
Now, check this out.
Hold there. Hold.
So this is the officer who was behind the officer in the SUV. And you can clearly see that that officer didn't pull all the way up on this dude. And he immediately flanked the guy and took cover. So I give him a gold star, if you will, for what he did.
There. Hold there. He's got a firearm.
Now you see how this guy's moving over? He's not even paying attention to what is going on to see like where he's at.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
It's like he just made a huge mistake doing that because he's so frantic and trying to shoot that he's literally coming over into his line of fire. He's steady moving over. He should be shooting from. He could literally be shooting from because it's not a thing of just saying like, well, I know he's doing this and he's scared or what. No. You want to shoot from concealment whenever you can or cover. And he could have literally been on top of that pickup truck and he could have taken that dude into his sights and let him have it. As opposed to doing this, I'm moving over here steady trying to line up because now you're exposing your body. And he did not have to do that. Check it out one more time. Because he's so worried about the target, he's not thinking about the safety of him or that officer. Because the more he's moving over, the more that officer needs to keep moving over so that they won't, so he won't get in his line of fire.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Put the gun down! Put the gun down!
Yep. That's in your apartment complex, KF504? Seriously? Wow. Now here's the biggest mistake right here. So now I'm gonna tell you like this: when you have firearm, when you have failure to fires like that, when your gun jam, if you will, when that gun doesn't fire, especially a Glock, because a Glock will damn near shoot anything. I've never had an issue where it's like, man, this Glock ain't work. Well, I've had an issue, but it was my fault. I fucked up actually with the issue I had with my Glock. And if your Glock is doing that, what it did with him, where he literally got off maybe 1 or 2 rounds before his gun jam, is because of a couple of things. He either has some of the cheapest fucking worst ammo in the world and it didn't get enough pressure when he fired it, that first one, to cycle the firearm, which is kind of iffy, or he had a dirty ass Glock that he probably hasn't cleaned in forever, and when he shot it, he had that issue to where it jammed. You can shoot your Glock 1,000 times and yes, it will fire. However, Glocks are very easy to maintain. You can I've literally been on the gun range, shot my Glock so many times, put so many rounds through it, and because it got so much carbon and fouling in there that it locked back and wouldn't cycle. I literally took the slide off and took a rag and just wiped that little area, just wiped in the little inside of the gun, wiped there and just wiped it. Not spraying it, not putting no ballast all on it, nothing, just wiped it. Put that guy back together and bam, kept going. And that's after, I'm talking it was at least 500-600 rounds gone through this thing. That's one of just because that's just one of the things. If it was even more than that, that's one of the things that I like to do when I first get a gun. Is I like to take it out the box and I don't want to oil it. I don't want to clean it or do nothing. I want to just check the reliability of it and just shoot it. Go to the range and don't clean it however many times. I go to the range 4, 5, 6 times shooting that gun without cleaning. I did it with my rifle. When I had my AR-15, I got to, I think it was, I want to say my count was 890 or 819 rounds that I put through it. No cleaning, fresh out the box, shooting it, putting it up, taking it out, shooting it, putting it up, taking it out over a series of several weeks. Never did anything to it. Never wiped it down, nothing. I mean, fresh out the box, fresh mag, going to work, and I got well over 800 rounds through it before I had to clean it. And that's factory oil and grease on it. Plain and simple. So when you have that maintenance behavior, if you will, where you're constantly taking care of your firearm, you won't have that happen because a Glock is one of the best made firearms out on the market today. So now if he would have had some cheap ass gun, what's that cheap ass gun called? I keep forgetting it. It's called a shit, I can't think of that goddamn gun. But if he had one of those cheap ass $250 9mm, then yes, that shit will jam on your ass just because it's not well made. But that gun there, if it's fucking up, is you probably user error or because you didn't, it's not being properly maintained. I'm telling you that right now. When we shoot our weapons in the military and our pistols jam, we had to a system called tap, rack, and sweep. Right, tap, rack, and yep, there you go. That's what your high point. That's it. Yes. If you got a high point, now that can happen to you. You can have your gun clean no matter what. High points are some of the worst firearms in the world. I don't care what nobody say. You can say it's a good firearm for the money, whatever. It's some bullshit. It's like you don't play with your life and your livelihood of yourself and your family members. You don't take that type of tool to protect your life. It's just a terrible gun. I don't like them. I don't like them Sam I am. I don't like high points. They are just terrible. Yes. But watch how this guy gets out and what happened, what he should have done once he had that, when he got out, because there were 2 other officers engaging this guy already. When he got out and he goes bang bang and then that slide locks back, first thing he should have done was, as he's going to tap and rack, get cover. Because the guy who's laying down is about maybe 20, maybe 15 yards away from him. And in his last dying gestures, could have shot this guy. Watch. Get out. You're approaching. Guy starts retreating. He doesn't even see you and you're shooting. You like 10 yards away. You see how he's backing up? He backed up, but he did not take complete cover like he should have. Because that guy can still see him. And you see he had to remove his mag, rack his slide, and then insert the mag, rack the slide again just to get back on point, to get back on target. So it's like you have to constantly think about that kind of stuff, because what happens is your muscle memory takes effect and you start to think, oh, well, I got this. And I'm like, it's like when you're at the gun range, you're constantly doing these things. And when you don't do them correctly, when you're in a situation to where your adrenaline's pumping and you panicking or something happens, you will either do one or 2 things. Nothing at all and have that deer in the headlights look, or you will do whatever habit you've been practicing, good or bad. Good or bad. That's exactly what would have happened. And when you pull your gun out, the first thing you should be thinking is cover. Gotta think cover, because you never know what's gonna happen. You never know who else is gonna be around. You never know who else is gonna shoot. Now, there will be times where you can be in that situation and there is no cover. Absolutely. But in this instance, both of those officers had plenty of opportunity for cover. Plenty of opportunity for cover. So you have to keep that in mind. Cover, concealment is extremely important. Yes, that's OODA loop, where you lose your fine motor skills. That's one of the reasons why, if you're ever in a gunfight, or not even in a gunfight, when you're practicing with your firearm, loading the magazine, when you rack that slide, you see, matter of fact, a lot of times you will see in the movies, you will see the pinch. You'll see them do this in the movies. That's what you'll see. You'll see somebody, and because it looks cool as shit now. Don't get me wrong. It looks cool as shit when the guy pulls his gun out and is pressed up against the wall, and he got to go, shoot the bad guys, and he get that in his face. You sitting there, you get that. Oh yeah, now he about to go to work. That always looks cool as shit. However, if you're in a situation where you are going through OODA loop and you are actually, you get tunnel vision, you lose that hearing, you lose hearing, and you get to a point where you lose fine motor skills. This is a fine motor skill. This is a gross motor skill, which is why we always teach to rack your slide by doing this. You want to, over the top, you want to rack that slide just like that. If you don't have the hand strength to do that, then you should either have a gun that got a lot of bullets in it, or you need to get you a gun to where you can do that. Absolutely. You should have, if you can't do that, you can't do this, because this can save your life. This can, when you're in a gunfight, it's all about seconds. And this, trying to pull this slide back like this and you can't, or you're in a situation where you get shot and you have to do that, you won't be able to do this if you shot. You won't be able to do this if you're panicking. You won't be able to do this when your adrenaline's pumping and shit is hitting the fan. I'm telling you, trust me, you won't be able to do it. That's why you always go over the top. Always go over the top. Because even if you get shot in this arm and you got to switch, it's a lot easier to do this than it is to do this. Trust and believe that. This is a fine motor skill, which is something you will lose. Your hands will become like flippers on a seal. Trust me. So when you do that, make sure you go over the top. Over the top. All right. But getting back to just what he was working through, he did a good job working through it. He just should have worked through it behind that car. And that's getting behind that car, that vehicle, that trunk, and staying there until you are able to put your gun back on target. Because he's doing this, taking his magazine out, racking his slide, putting this guy back in, then he's going back on target. And luckily for him, those two other guys had already put him down. Because if that guy was still trying to get him, he could have probably got off at least a couple of shots at this guy. Yeah, absolutely. So just make sure that that's something that I just wanted to point out with this video. It was like, man, it was terrible. Like I said, I definitely believe it was a suicide by cop. Kev 504, is he still in is he still on the other side? Click the link, Kev, and come over to the UGOA and see that, because I want to ask you a quick question. Oh, he said get a revolver. Yeah. Here's my thing about, oh, there he is. Here's my thing about revolvers. I think that revolvers are great backup guns. My biggest problem with revolvers is that you only got 6 shots. You only got 6 shots. As a matter of fact, I can even point something out in this video here where you can see this guy when they're shooting at him. Let's pull this up. When you watch the grass, watch the grass when they start shooting. Just do me that one favor. Watch the grass when they start shooting.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa.
Yep. You see those rounds popping up? Now,
Put the gun down!
I cannot determine if those rounds are coming from the guy who's getting shot gun or if it's coming from those officers' guns. But I can help this prove my point. A lot of times, and most of the times when people get into gunfights, usually when you're coming from a position where you're drawing that firearm like from your hip, or you're drawing it from your waist, or wherever you got your gun at, from the front, from the side, or whatever, usually your first round winds up in the ground or somewhere off target. Usually. With that being said, that shot that usually gets placed is usually your second or third shot. So when you're talking about a revolver, you're talking about 6 shots. Let's just say, even though you practice at the range all the time and you put a lot of rounds down range through your firearm, you do what the laws of averages predict and you don't place that first round. You're now stuck with 5 bullets left to get it done. And that's okay too, because a lot of people will say most gunfights last maybe 3 to 4 rounds. I'll give you that. Even though I disagree, but I'm going to tell you why. I'll give you that. 3 to 4 rounds. Most gunfights. However, when you have 3 to 4 rounds and you've already lost 1, you got 5 left. Let's say you put 3 on this guy. Bang, bang, bang. You got 3 rounds on this guy. Now you have, you have 2 rounds left. I get it. So let's just say you got 3 rounds in this guy, he's down, and you got 2 rounds to spare. Yup. And especially for women, this is one of the things I want you to know. What happens if there is another assailant? What happens if there is another guy? What happens if there's somebody else in the house? What happens if there's somebody else trying to assault you, trying to kidnap you, trying to rape you, whatever the case may be? You got 2 rounds to figure it out. Because I'm going to tell you like this. If you are ever in a gunfight and you have to reload, you are in trouble. You in big trouble. You should never be in a gunfight and be in a situation to where you have to reload. Plain and simple. Which is why I always tell people, you get a gun that you can shoot well, you get a gun that you know is reliable, and you get one that has a very good magazine capacity. Bare minimum, my bare minimum is at least 9 and 1. That's my bare minimum, because if you're in a situation to where you, let's just say for instance, you at a, and especially for somebody like a woman, you in a Walmart, let's just paint the picture. You in a Walmart parking lot and you got a guy who's trying to, rob you. You got a guy who's trying to snatch you. You got a guy who's trying to put you, take you away in a truck or whatever. Think about it like this. What if it's more than one? And let's just say you're going to average double tap each assailant. So you're putting 2 to 3 rounds on your 1 or 2 assailants. Now you are damn near out of rounds. If something else comes about, if something else happens, you're either trying to take this revolver, open up the cylinder, dump out the shells, right? Push the little thing down, dump out the shells, and reload 6 shells. Or if you got a speed loader, you put the speed loader in and you gotta twist it, put that cylinder back in, and now you're going back to work. Where and when do you have time to do that? And God forbid if this person that you are, or your assailant or your assailants, if they have a firearm themselves, you really in deep shit. So it's like you have to keep those type of things in mind. I always tell people to be prepared for the worst situation possible. So you got, and not to say that you need to get a Glock and have a 33 round magazine. No, I'm not saying that. But having anywhere between 10 to 17 or 19 rounds puts you in a situation where you should not have to reload your gun. And if you do, doing it with a semi-automatic is better than doing it with a revolver, because you're getting more rounds and it's a quicker reload. Yeah, I hate that shit in California where they limit you guys to 10 round clips. That's some of the dumbest shit in the world. That is so stupid, unless you're a law enforcement officer. That's some bullshit. At the end of the day, when you think about the environments that people are in today, it's like you can't think that most people ain't out committing crimes by themselves. People are getting into it with groups of people. You at a gas station and you having a problem with somebody, you having an issue with somebody, they gonna be coming at you, and it's usually more than one person. You get into a situation when you go back and forth with some guy or some woman or whatever, you wind up shooting her. What if she got somebody there with her? Not to say that you got to shoot them too, but there's a very good chance you may have to. You done shot my best friend. You done shot my sister. You done shot my wife. You done shot my husband. Now what you gonna do? And you don't want to be sitting there shaking with a revolver trying to dump them shells out and put in some new ones. You don't want to be doing that. See? There you go, Kev 04. Been in 2 gunfights, seen a few. There you go. I haven't been in a gunfight, but I've seen a couple. I've had to pull my guns several times throughout my life. Gotten close a few times. Quite a few times. But fortunately enough, I've never had to pull that trigger in that type of situation. But I've gotten close. So it's like when you just thinking about that shit is real, man. For somebody like you, Kev, the chances of that happening to somebody else are, the odds are in the millions of you being not in just 1, but in 2 gunfights. But if you are in that number and it does fall upon you, do you want to be sitting there with 6 shots or do you want to be sitting there with 16? Makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. You don't want to be in your home, and I'm just thinking at it from a female perspective. You don't want to be in your home and a guy who's been watching you for weeks or months on end kicks in your door and now is coming after you, and what you gonna do? You and your 6 shots to protect you and your kids, or you by yourself? No. You want to be able to put yourself in your safe room, get into that safe corner of your house, and you want to be able to sit back with 17 rounds and just be sitting there on that door waiting. You come as soon as I ain't got shit to say. I done dialed 911 and set the phone down. They tracing the call. They on their way. Whatever the case may be. If this guy comes through this door, I'm gonna shoot 3 times and see what happens. If he duck back and come back through, I can sit there and I can exchange some firepower. I can send some rounds at this dude and ain't got to worry about reloading. And the police are on the way. That gives you more time. It takes more time to get rid of 16 rounds than it does 6. Trust and believe. So you want to have those rounds available to where if you need them, you got them. As opposed to saying, I done shot, I think 5 times, so I think I got 1 more shot left in this revolver before I got to load it back up. My 357, my Taurus, whatever it is, my what's the other one? 357, 38 special, whatever it is that I got. You don't want to be in a situation where you're saying, man, now I have to reload. Do I have a magazine on me? Do I have bullets? Maybe I was in the bathroom when this dude kicked in the door, and I was just sitting there, had my gun sitting on the face bowl. So it is what it is, man. My late husband has had to pull his weapon 3 times, and he had several times at work. Right there, you go. Navy retired. I lived in the murder capital, and when you combine that with deaths of Katrina, yeah, oh yeah, especially during Katrina, boy, I know it was wild back. It was man, that shit was like a third world country, boy. When that shit hit, I get it. Honestly, I've never gotten rid of our 15 round clips. You shouldn't. What's the quote? I'd rather be judged by 12 and carried by 6. Yep. Now that I'm a widow with kids, I have to protect them and me. Absolutely. And some bullshit ass law, yep, charge me with having 5 extra rounds, because them 5 extra rounds can save my life or my child's life. Is the quickest way to get killed. It's like you gotta, and it's just thinking about that. It's like, man, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And all of these politicians, because it's really only the politicians that want to regulate these guns, and the only reason why they're doing it, and this is what's so, it's just so frustrating. The only reason why you half of these politicians are even riding with this is because they're using it to keep themselves popular, so they can keep themselves elected. Half of them, because half of them don't even know about guns or shoot or do anything. The other half, they don't give a damn because They live in communities to where they don't need guns. They live in communities where they don't have to worry about crime. They don't have to worry about being assaulted because of the circles that they travel in. They are either in secured locations, they live in secure communities, and they have armed security guards walking around and patrolling their neighborhoods because they're paying for it. Or because they are a public official and they have a security detail. And those guys aren't walking around with 6 shooters. The majority of them aren't. So they don't really care. And the fact that they don't care, it takes away a sense of reality from them to where they don't think about that. They don't think about going into a gas station in the hood at 11 or 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock at night and getting into it with somebody and then you having to use your firearm. They don't think about that kind of stuff. They don't worry about that. That's just like when Joe Biden made that dumbass remark about get a shotgun. Who the fuck's gonna walk around with a shotgun? You don't need to have a gun. Get a shotgun. Yeah, right. My philosophy is this. I think that any American in this country that is not a convicted felon should be able to carry whatever the fuck our military has. Sounds crazy, but it's true. They should be able to do it. I remember one of my buddies told me, he said, I want to be able to buy a goddamn javelin if I want to. And I get it, because you have to look at it like this. If you're talking about our country who's empowering our military to go out and to fight for our country and our laws and our way of life and all of that stuff against our enemies, foreign and domestic, what happens if our military ever comes at us? What happens? I don't want to be sitting there with a fucking 10-round magazine and the guys who are shooting at me, even though it's my own military that I'm paying for, they got 15, 17, 19 round magazines. Puts me at a disadvantage. Puts you at a disadvantage. And you think, and for those of you who watching this and think, oh, that's just asinine, that's crazy, that'll never happen here. Yup, tell the people in Venezuela that. Because them cats over in Venezuela, right now, they're getting shot by their own military. And they turned in all their guns like idiots. Like a bunch of idiots. So it is what it is. I'm telling you, man, I just wanted to make sure that I went over this video. I didn't want to be too long. I appreciate everybody that took the time to come over here, check it out. Click the like button, click the subscribe button. I'm going to put the link over here in the chat one more time in the relationship rehab chat. Subscribe to the channel, the United Guns of America. This is where I do most of this stuff at. I'm just trying to build up the channel, keep content coming from the channel. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. I know I have. I enjoyed every time you guys tune in and sit with me. We talk, laugh, ask questions, and all that good stuff. And one of the things I always try to do here in the UGA is when I do a video or I do a topic, if anybody got any questions, now's the time to ask. That's some good wine. Cool. All right, guys. Hey, let me just make sure no donations, because I definitely want to get things. Nope, not a one. That's what's up. So thank you guys. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Click the like, click the subscribe. You see, I still didn't tell you what kind of gun to get. What kind of? I didn't see you ask that. You're talking about what kind of gun to get. Is this for? Do you own a gun? First of all, is this your first gun? I can take a minute and answer that. Is this your first gun, JB? Female, first gun. Okay, perfect. So check this out. I'm going to tell you to do this. You go to, and this is for anybody. You go to the firing range first and foremost. The two calibers that you want to be interested in a 9mm and 380. Okay, now once you go to the gun range, I'm gonna recommend, I am a 9mm caliber type of guy, I'm gonna recommend that you try the Glock 17, the Glock 19. You can try the what's the other one? damn it, try a Springfield. What is that Springfield gun called? The XD9. Try that. Try the, what's the other one? A more expensive gun is gonna be like well, no, I ain't gonna tell you to do that. That's too much. But try those 3 right there. Try the Glock 17, the Glock 19. Try the Springfield XD9, and oh yeah, definitely try the Smith & Wesson. Try the Smith & Wesson 9mm as well. That is a very good gun. Yeah, I would definitely say to try those 4. If you just had to pick a gun today to walk out of the gun store with, that you just needed a gun right now, I would say to probably go with the Glock, or go with the Smith & Wesson or the XD. You can go with any one of those 3. You cannot go wrong. However, I do say this: if you have children at home, you also want to try a Beretta PX4 Storm. And I'm going to tell you this: if you have children at home, whether they are young, if they're under the age of 13, if you have young kids at home, get or try to get a gun that has an external safety on it. The safe, and I don't, god damn it, I don't, because my guns are in the shop. Shit. Let's see. Nope, and I don't have it because the slides are gone. Okay, so what that is, it's gonna have a gun it's gonna be a gun that's gonna have a little flip down or drop down safety up here. All right, no kids, but a Psycho X, get you a Glock. Go get you a Glock 19, or get you a Glock 17. Telling you that right now. Go get one of those, or you can get the XD. And the reason why I'm giving you those 3 different brands, the 3 different brands, yeah, the XD, the Glock, or the Smith & Wesson, is because of how they feel. When you first pick up a gun, it should feel good in your hand. That's one of the first things about picking up or trying a different gun. You want it to feel good. Now, I'm going to warn you against this. When you go to the gun store, you're going to have these gun guys that are going to tell you, oh, get something small and super concealable and stuff. Bullshit. Don't do that. Don't buy a gun because it's small. Don't buy a gun because it's cute when it's your first firearm. You want to have something like this. Reason why I say, I will probably say a 19, because a 19 is just a little bit shorter than the 17, but it still gives you a lot of barrel. Problem with small guns, even though they are very concealable, is that a smaller gun has a shorter barrel. A shorter barrel means that you have a higher kick harder. It recoils harder, and that recoil is what determines how quick and how fast you can put rounds back on target. So every time that gun cycles and it goes bang, it puts another round in. It does that. The shorter the barrel, the more pressure it is, and it goes up higher, which makes it harder to put rounds on target. So when you have a longer barrel, that takes away some of that recoil, and it'll do that as opposed to doing that. A lot of small guns, you will notice when you go to the range, have what I call a snap. I'll say it's a little snappy. It has a little kickback to it. Because it has a smaller barrel, it's going to kick back a little bit more. When you have a bigger barrel, then it's not going to do that as much, because the longer barrel, it takes away more of that recoil. The Beretta PX4 Storm is a magnificent gun when it comes to low recoil. That PX4 Storm with that rotating barrel, it takes that recoil away, and it feels so good in your hands. Trust me. So I would say those are your 4. I'm gonna actually, if you want to write them down, put them in the chat, whatever you want to do, I'm gonna say the PX4 Storm. Then I'm gonna say the Glock 19. Then I'm gonna say the Springfield XD9, or is it the XD9M? It's the XD9M, I believe. And then I'm gonna say the Smith & Wesson. I forgot what it's called. What's the Smith & Wesson one called? Just if you go into a gun store, they'll know. The Smith & Wesson 9mm. So those are the ones that I'm gonna suggest that you go and try, and just literally buy you a box of ammo and just rent the gun. Pick up pick them all, have them lay all 4 of them out, pick up each one and see which ones feel good in your hands. If 1 out of the 4 feel good, take that 1 and go practice. If 3 out of those 4 feel good, take them all in and go practice. If 1 doesn't feel good, don't even practice with it. But the ones that do feel good, take them and go practice, and then you'll see which one you're most comfortable with. Then you can worry about your mechanics and how you're shooting and shot placement and all that good stuff. But when you pick that gun up, you want it to feel good. You want to be super confident with it. I can hit anything with my Glock. I can hit anything with my Beretta. That's how you want to feel. So we'll feel one good. It still scares you. I know, and that's what I'm saying. If it's your first time ever shooting, you can try a 380. It's a smaller caliber, or you can even try a 22. Most of the time, if I take somebody to the range and it's their first time, I will feel them out, and I'll probably either try to get them into a 22 to shoot first, or shoot them into a 380. One of those two. That's usually a first try caliber gun. Not one to purchase for personal protection, but I like the 22 because you can work on mechanics. It's not a lot of recoil, and it doesn't scare them. Especially with a lot of women, they have that thing where they will get scared, because if you get scared by shooting a 45 or shooting a 40, it's going to have a loud bang, it's going to kick back, but you're not going to like it because you don't like the way it made you feel when that boom went. Just like when people go into the range for the first time, the way that when they don't have that headgear on, when they put that headgear on, whatever it is, you can put that headgear on, you can walk in with those earmuffs, and that first time you hear that bang, you're going to jump. It never fails. Everybody I've ever taken to the range, they do it. You do that. Oh, because it's such a shocking noise. Until you get used to it, it scares you. And a lot of times, women, when it's their first time, they get scared, which is okay. But if you're shooting something like a 22, 22 is very, 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 very easy to shoot. So if you want to just practice because you've never shot before, start with a 22 if you're scared. That's perfectly fine. And then you can work your way up, because what most people would tend to do, I'll go in there with my 22, with a 22 that we'll rent or something. I'll have my 9mm. They'll get to shooting that 22 and be like, oh, I like this. This is really fun. Let me try another one. And then you can get them into a 9mm. 9mm is not that bad, but it is definitely something that's a little different and could be a little frightening to somebody who's never done it before. So that's my opinion on that. So great question. Thank you. I hope I answered it. I hope it helps you. If you got any more questions, shoot me an email, ugoa1791@gmail.com. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it, and I hope that you guys can use this video, share this video. I hope that this helps somebody at some point in time or another. And remember, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I'm Brian Redmond. This is the United Guns of America, and via the Relationship Rehab. And I want to say peace, and I'm out.